Look at my horse is amazing. Give it a lick.
No.
Oh, come on, it tastes just like...
I know it tastes like raisins, but we already did that. I mean, in fact, like, I wanted to do it, but then we had to cut it out last week because there was so much else going on, and I just didn't have time, and...
That's just an excuse. Nobody likes me.
That's not true, Bob. Everybody hates you. There's a difference.
Yay.
Hey, so it is February 22nd, 2019. It is 2/2/2. That's kind of funny. Anyway, this is Warcraft Weekly, where I cover this week's news of Warcraft, even when there's oh so little to cover. But let's go over what WoW's been up to this week. There's the usual quick stuff to mention. We got a new PTR this week that's giving some little indications that we're getting pretty close to it going live soon. I'm going to share my thoughts on that. And Wintergrasp testing went down this week. I'm going to share a few thoughts and impressions. Bob is over at, hey, where'd Bob? Oh my. Okay.
This is mutiny.
Oh god.
Game workers, rise up. You better watch your back, fish. Don't patronize me.
So anyway, Mr. GM of Mr. GM fame was recently featured on the Battle.net launcher for his exploits running Mythic Argus transmog and achievement runs, which is a far cry from the private server work that earned him his early notoriety. Now I have a much better handle of what kinds of streams Blizzard wants to promote and not promote.
Talking about math, way to go.
I'm sorry, do you want to switch it to our normal conversation?
Ass. I'm excited to give him an interview from one content creator to another so he can give a chance to just talk about himself so we can get to know him a little bit better. And I'll be happy to do it as soon as I reach out to him to do it. An Allied race preview was also released this week, instructing players on how to unlock said races and giving us one more indication that patch 8.15, when these races will be made available, will be out soon. It also demonstrates why Blizzard should probably disable voting and comments so they can find out just how many people see these previews because they're interested in the information and not because they want to compete for the #1 smartass comment. So let's get to the news. This week's PTR build is pretty small and featuring a few string changes and more gear tuning for the upcoming Calling of Stratholme raid, which gives us an indication
it's coming.
New allied races are finally coming, yeah! After waiting for nearly 7 months, Blizzard is going to fulfill their promise of Zandalari Paladins, or Trolls, both. Let's recap this bumpy road, shall we? On November 3rd, 2017 at BlizzCon, BFA was introduced, and on its content feature video, there they were, Zandalari Trolls. Cool Terran humans were but a whisper between fans and from Blizzard, who believed that they wouldn't be able to make Cool Terrans a unique race of their own. But somewhere down the road, they changed their mind. I'll let Ian explain.
Why not sooner? 2 reasons. One, part of it is a reflection of the story. The practical reason, now, so folks may remember back at BlizzCon, when we announced allied races for the first time, we announced Zandalari and Dark Iron Dwarves. The actual original intent was to have Zandalari and Dark Iron as the 2 allied races at launch in Battle for Azeroth. Notably missing from that is Kul Tiran. That's because we didn't actually know or think that we were going to be able to do Kul Tiran practically. Making a new race is one of the most time-consuming things we can do. With the allied races, we wanted to make a bunch of new races rather than just a single one. Kul Tiran are an exception. The Kul Tiran is actually a completely new model, completely new skeleton, new rig in animating terms. We didn't think we were going to be able to do it. We thought, because it actually literally more time-consuming than all the other allied races combined. And so we were proceeding with, well, it would be really nice to have Kul Tirans in here, but we don't think we can do this. And so that was the plan we had in mind at BlizzCon. As development of Battle for Azeroth went on, we felt increasingly bad about that. We realized that if we stretched, we could get the Kul Tiran done, but that it wasn't going to be able to happen until 8.15. And once we knew we were going to do that, it really made sense to pair the Kul Tiran and the Zandalari.
And so as the months rolled by, we started seeing previews of Biffa, but no Zandalari Trolls. Instead, seeing previews for Maghar Orcs, who, if not for this change, would have been the Horde race coming in patch 8.15. Which also makes me think, hey, does that mean the Alliance would have received no new allied rays in patch 8.15? Or was something else going to be planned and they decided, oh, we'll just kick that can down the road and save it for later? You know what? I don't know. Long story short, they changed their mind. Or they lied. Or, in Ian's words...
So basically, Horde players who are waiting on Zandalari Trolls, you can blame the Alliance. and blame us, because that's really how all this works.
I know it's too early to review, but I've got a couple things to say about the upcoming Court of Stars raid, which is a 2-boss instance, which seems to be the segue that gives a brief pause to the also fun faction war that everyone loves and no one wants to see the end of. So, if you didn't know already, every item in the instance is going to have some cool or uncool effect that's one part beneficial and one part pain in the ass. I know all of these have a dark, voidy sort of theme to them, but I'm holding out hope, as I always do when Blizzard brings out things like these, that Blizzard continues to bring in fun stuff like this, items that are themed after the raid that have some cool effects. The stuff that we see in Boda right now, by comparison, it's there, but it's pretty darn weak. Except for the gold thing. I mean, being able to run around in my golden mecha, dripping out gold as I'm running and walking around because of kicks that I'm wearing is pretty cool, but I'm talking about power. Cool effects, sort of like Azeroth traits, but you know, like way better. But something I have to gripe about the gear in this Chamber of Secrets raid is the artwork. Check it out right here. It's pretty much the same shit as Boda. It sucks. Here was a chance, according to Blizzard, to have gear that is themed after the raid that it comes from, and it's not. I get that this gear isn't a complete set, but speaking for myself as a transmog enthusiast slash slut whore, it would have been cool to see void-themed pieces like a big eyeball on the belt, or at least like the same skinned gear, I suppose, but with this void-touched corruption or something. So way to go, Blizzard, way to forward the conversation, something, bring back tier sets or whatever. So when is this patch coming out? Raid testing happens to be going on today, the 22nd, which should have went on one day earlier, so you know what that means, total Armageddon. I'm kidding. It's next week. Next week, we're going to find out probably when the patch is coming out. Gotcha. Here's why. It's been a month since the last developer Q&A, and next Thursday is going to be the last day of the month, February 28th. This does not mean that Ian and Blizzard are beholden to hold a Q&A every single month, even though they have since the launch of Biffa, but it's safe to speculate probably. And if there is one, half the questions I'm sure are going to be asking Ian why he wasn't also considered to be non-development staff and be laid off, but the other half is going to ask, when is the patch? So there's a fair likelihood that next week we'll find out exactly when we'll get 815 and the Crucible of something or other. So let's wrap up this week with talking about some of my experiences in playtesting Wintergrasp. So there's a test that went on earlier this week. Wintergrasp, if you don't recall, is an outdoor PvP zone from Wrath of the Lich King where the two factions duke it out for control of the zone, where attackers knock down the doors to the fortress or defenders destroy offensive towers. It's a 40-on-40 romp, and first impressions, I think it's pretty damn fun to return to an old sweetheart. It's scaled down because once upon a time before shards and population balance, you had these huge pitched battles between the factions, and people would like be spamming over in Dalaran, oh my god, come help out your faction, we're down by this, come on, let's go dudes. But this time it's instanced and very controlled. And I don't think that's so bad. As an epic battleground, it's slumped up there with Isle of Conquest and Alterac Valley, and someday Ashran will be up there too. One of the best things, in my opinion, about Wintergrasp is that it has a maximum time limit where if it expires, the defending team wins, so expectations are very well managed. In other words, this battleground compared to the other epic battlegrounds is pretty short. I think that's a big plus. Anyway, the feel of Wintergrasp was very much there, with teams racing to workshops to steal siege engines and with which to smush the enemy. There are some flubs, of course, some bugs that we encountered, like sometimes siege damage on buildings wasn't working at all, or damage from turrets was just insane. In the first round, the Horde played defense. Over on Twitch, I happened to overhear former community manager Yithson's bits of glee as he killed Mr. GM over and over again, because he plays Alliance, and that was just neat. And in this first romp, the Horde was victorious. In the second round, the Horde was going on offense. We were doing okay and busted down the walls to the fortress when suddenly, even though there was plenty of time left, the Alliance won. Bias. Sorry. Don't worry, it was just a bug with the timer not being reset even though our towers were already destroyed. So that's it. I do have expectations that next week there will be a developer Q&As, and if there is, look forward to that, as well as my coverage, the usual thing that I do. Since we've been winding down on the news over the past couple weeks, I'm going to see if I can get some more fun and personal videos out there, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. Oh, and hit that subscribe button over there, just because you're a really great person. Otherwise, thanks for making it to the end. I know that this was a short one, but I'm still very grateful for letting me be a short part of your day. I look forward to seeing you next week, so join me in the comments, keep watching the videos, come see me over on Discord or Twitter or Twitch or whatever, and say hi, because I'm kind of shy, but I'm still an attention whore too. Ha ha.
Yeah, sure you are.
Shut up. Anyway, you all have a good one. Until next time, stay safe, stay happy, and stay breezy.
Do you think so? Well, I better not show you where the lemonade is made. Sweet lemonade. Sweet lemonade.
Oh, you're going to hell, Soul.